Hey, this is Jay Chatfield with Loving Yourself to Life. How are you doing today on this beautiful Sunday? I am doing awesome. Thanks for asking. I was loving on myself today. I bought myself a chair and it's blue. So, blue's been my thing. Blue's been something that I've really been attracted to lately, and it actually encourages me to be more creative, which is something that I'm doing this week, which we're gonna talk about that coming up. But I was a little conflicted to come on today about this because usually I don't speak about things that's going on like current or like dramaful things, but this one really kind of touched my soul a little bit. It touched it more than a little bit because the thing I guess people are talking about, I follow the lady Tabitha Brown. I actually started following her because I was looking at some of the vegan recipes that she had and vegetarian things, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this meal prep thing. And she had a video came up in my feed, and then after I watched that, some other things popped up. And so, the whole thing about her retiring her husband. Like, people say, who am I? Well, the first thing is I'm a wife. And I'm a wife that has been standing by her man for 20 years. And I understand the positive message that she was conveying. And I do understand why people turn that around, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm going to talk about is that I understand. I more than understand. I actually felt what she was saying because just like her husband, my husband is a firefighter. And when you are close to people that fight fires or are public service workers, polices, you feel more connected to the danger than the people out there. Yeah, you can walk out in the street and get hurt and die or whatever like that, but you have a greater chance if something is on fire and you running in there to go help somebody. See, that everybody says someone has to do it, but it's a great career for people who that's just what they want to do. But if you are married to someone that has special gifts and talents, like my husband wasn't a firefighter when I met him. He is a creative. He is a creative. And one of the things that he is passionate about is his children, right? So we've been living on a one income for about 10 years now. My oldest son will be 10. So I stopped working and I had a very good job in the medical field. I was teaching in colleges and I was doing all of those things like for a double income home. I had done that when we were in college and everything. And we have 3 kids. We have 2 boys and a girl. So when I became a one income household, we were making great. I'm saying we because we were doing this together. He was making really good money, but he decided that he wanted a more stable job, which that proved to be true. One thing about my husband, I always trust his judgment because I don't feel like anyone should be telling you what to do if you are so connected to God in yourself, the God in yourself. If you are connected to yourself, no one else should be telling you what to do with your life. Well, he said that he wanted to work a more, like I say, a stable job, and he wanted to be active. He was a front-end UI designer. He was very high up in the company because he's amazing. I mean, a creative. He picked up the system really quick, and it was amazing. I've never told the story of how we got over here, and I won't now, but I'm just still talking about this. So I saw him go from that and then be a firefighter, and he's still doing the same thing. He's still doing the creative things that he was doing before he was a firefighter, but now it's a little bit more stable because that's what a man wants to do. A man wants to provide. Though I married him straight up because I knew he was a provider. I knew he was a go-getter. I wasn't going to have to wake him up in the morning and say, go get a job. And he knew that about me too. You ain't if anything, you gonna go tell me to sit down. Go watch my YouTube videos with 8 jobs, my 8 job having self. Goodness. So I'm free from that. But we'll talk about that journey too, as I always do. So he's doing the same thing. But one of the things why I work in the manner that I do on my business, I've taken a back seat to all that outward stuff. So I found in my feminine energy some great things that I'm doing while I'm still home with my children. And I notice his conflict to spend time with the kids or to go to work. Go to my son's game, coach his football team, spend time with my daughter. I noticed the conflict. So as a wife, I said, I want to do something that will bring enough provisions in the house that he doesn't have to choose. That he doesn't have to choose. He can just say, yeah, I want to do this or I don't. Now he's made some great progress into being home with us more, but he still has to choose. I don't want that. And as a wife and a person who's with someone day in and day out and see that struggle, in the beginning, it was really hard because I was at track meets by myself. I was traveling to cities by myself. And he was like, we would call like this and he'd watch his son run race right between calls. And as a dad that wants to be involved with their kids, I'm not that type of wife that's going to sit back and just let that happen for 20 years. And he's not either. Like I said, he's home with us more now because he changed some things around. And that's awesome, but still he has to choose. So when Miss Tabitha Brown said that she retired her husband, I was so happy for her because I know as a person that's living in that situation, with some danger, with one, the dangers of the job, and 2, the conflict. And I think she has a younger son too. It doesn't matter because you always, I always want to be there for my kids. I even told if they decide to go to college, I told my husband, are we getting an RV, baby? And are we driving around or wherever they go? I want to be at a college game. I know you can't see me, but you're going to know my presence is there. Because I know as a child, the greatest thing that a parent can do is give your children your time and their intentional time. My son would look for my husband. He'd say, I'm getting off and I'm going to come straight to your track meet. And sometimes he would make it just as my son would run around the track. And I get emotional about it because I know growing up for me, I didn't have a parent support system. And that was one of the things I manifested before I got married. I wanted a good father for my 3 kids. Yes, I knew I was going to have 3 kids before I had them. Ask me about that later. And he would see his dad come right when he was running around that last curve. That's all you see that. I'd be so happy for my son, and also, of course, I love the support because those days are hard. Those days are long and hard. But as a person, as a wife that's been in that front line, just as Miss Tabitha was, my husband's only been a firefighter for going on 7 years, but you hear the stories, some of the families that experience some losses, not as much as you police officers, but you do come in contact with families that maybe sometimes they get burned or you know their kid has a disease or certain things like that. But you come in contact with that, you want, and you know your husband. Sorry, I'm holding the phone. Don't beat me up. You know who I'm talking to. And knowing that your husband has other gifts and things that he wants to pursue, not so much as retiring him, but giving him a choice is what it is. And people hold on to, oh, he's a man needs to be able to provide. It's going to be tough. No, not for a creative, not for a person that has a purpose and a vision for what they're doing. And if her purpose and vision is to be a helper to her husband, and she sees this, remember, it's funny because it was like, yo, somebody needs to have a stable house. Oh, and I agree, because I love to write. I'm not into acting, but I love writing screenplays. I love doing plays for churches and dances and writing. My husband had to have a stable income too, but then I had 3 kids under 4 years old too. And daycare baby, no ma'am. I didn't mean to make this so long. But it really kind of broke my heart how people were turning that around. And like I said, that's not the energy, energy that we want to absorb. But I do want to tell you something. There are things that the people on the outside just ain't gonna understand. But you have to listen to yourself. You have to work on your family. Your house, this house, needs to be in order for this house to be in order. But everybody's house that's listening to you ain't in order. So they can't talk to you in an orderly manner. You can't look for outside validation for people who are not doing the work on themselves every day. It's an everyday thing. You can't, and like I said, it made me sad, but then also it made me got to me a little bit, which I am, that's gone. But it also prompts me to make this video because your love has nothing to do with everybody else's validation. You don't need it. And I understand she wanted to tell people because the power of manifestation is real. I've seen it my whole life and didn't even know that I was working it. But now that I'm working it, I really see it. I got that message. But just remember, guys, you don't need anybody else to co-sign on what your spirit tells you to do, what the God in you tells you to do. That's your business, just like she says on her shirts. And like I say, I'm new to that, because it's your business. You're right. It is your business. And if somebody comes, listen, whatever. I just wanted to say that, loving you will cause magical things to happen. Magical things. Loving you will cause magical things to happen. And if you trusting your word and you're putting your word, the world has to move to your words. It has to do it because you have that much power. Where's your power? What do you want to do? J. Chatfield, loving yourself to life. As always, do something for you. Can't wait to sit in my blue chair. Y'all just don't know. This chair I'm sitting in, boy, listen. It's like one of them little toddler chairs. Woohoo! Y'all know what I'm talking about. I cuff you right on your butt. Okay. I'm ready to get in my blue chair. But do something for you that only you will love. Have a love yourself day.